I'm particularly excited about our activities tonight, given that this is the launch of our Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander alumni group, officially. But as is customary and oh so appropriate in particular for this group, I'd like to begin our time together by acknowledging the traditional owners and their custodianship of the lands on which UQ operates and on which we gather and meet today. We pay our respects to their ancestors and their descendants who continue cultural and spiritual connections to country. We recognize the valuable contributions to Australian and global society. Now, as you may have already guessed, those words don't quite roll off my tongue as I'm not from around here. I grew up in the States, and I will say, if you don't mind me diverting from script for just a moment, when I have the opportunity, and I really do view it as an opportunity to not only speak to alumni, but to offer that acknowledgement, it is a reminder of just how extraordinary I think it is that is a tradition that is at least integrated into many of our efforts at UQ, and something that I would say was strikingly absent from any of my introductions or speeches growing up in the United States, particularly on a very strong Native American cultural land. Potawatomi was where I grew up. And so I just want to begin by saying that it is an absolute privilege and pleasure to be with this group tonight. I am learning every single day from our dear friend Bronwyn Fredericks, who has given me an incredible orientation and ongoing orientation as I settle into life here in Brisbane. But enough about me. What we're here for tonight is an event that's all about you. And that's that we want to express that this is a first or the beginning of many gatherings that we hope will occur that mobilize our Indigenous Australian community, alumni community, in a way that we never have before. That inspiration has absolutely been driven by our new PVCIE, as we like to say for short, Bronwyn, who you'll hear from shortly. This is an extraordinary, important step in our commitment to engage our alumni in ways that we haven't traditionally before. As you may have guessed, we have two areas, or as you may have heard, we have two areas that we primarily work in, the alumni relations area and the fundraising area. And I'll say the fundraising area tends to get a lot of airtime, and that's because it's really important. But just as important is engaging our nearly 300,000 alumni globally. And that is an incredible asset. And within that incredible population is an extraordinary group of alumni that we have not engaged in the way that we probably should have in the past. And that is why we're here today. So today is not only about celebrating this, but it's also celebrating two very important people who are going to be honored very shortly just across the street in City Hall tonight at our annual Courting the Greats event. And if you're not familiar with Courting the Greats, what that is an annual alumni celebration. So it's a very selective and competitive process. Nominations come in from the community, and I'm delighted to say that there are two winners that are going to be celebrated that are with us tonight, or going to be with us tonight. I think one's still on the way, perhaps. One is Dr. Lilla Watson, winner of this year's Indigenous Community Impact Award, and the other is Dr. Jordan Corey, winner of one of UQ's Distinguished Young Alumni Award. Please, everybody, would you mind joining me in acknowledging them and celebrating? Now, I would be remiss not to acknowledge another very important person in this room, which is Mr. Peter Varghese, UQ's Chancellor, who is a very special guest to have with us here today, and who will also be joining us at the celebration this evening. The Indigenous Engagement Team offers their sincere thanks for your attendance today, Chancellor. It's a pleasure to work with you. I also want to acknowledge and introduce UQ's Pro Vice Chancellor, Indigenous Engagement, Professor Bronwyn Fredericks, who talk a little bit more about the significance of today's event. Thank you, Bronwyn.
I'll just adjust that mic. Hi, everyone. I'm really excited about today. It's been a long time coming, so I'm really excited. I might get a little bit emotional too through this ceremony or through this event today, but certainly this afternoon. In what we're doing and what we're going to be doing. And there's a lot of things that are happening that are coming to fruition now that we've been planning. But I acknowledge the traditional owners on which we are meeting and gathering and celebrating this evening and this afternoon on, and that we've shared some fellowship with and had some food and some laughter, and people have met up again. I acknowledge the country we're on, and I acknowledge the ancestors and their descendants who continue cultural and spiritual connections to this country in terms of the Greater Brisbane area. I too would like to thank Chancellor Mr. Peter Varghese, and for people who don't know Mr. Peter Varghese and not sure what he looks like, that's him over there. We need to point him out so people know if you've never met the Chancellor. And thank all guests, both alumni and other guests that are here this afternoon, and I hope that you'll enjoy this event. In terms of what Jen said, 300,000 alumni, that's a huge number of graduates from this university. We have just over 1,000 Indigenous graduates that we've been able to locate so far, and 2 of those graduates, 2 alumni, are getting awards tonight, one in terms of the Community Impact Award and the other one a Distinguished Youth or Young Persons Alumni Award. And to have someone outtake those 300,000 that's not an Indigenous community is pretty amazing too. And we have amazing people coming through. We've had amazing people through, and we're having amazing people come through. I want to make mention of one of those right now, and that's Dr. Watson, or Dr. Lilla Watson. Also, many of you here know her as Auntie Lilla Watson, who's been around in the Brisbane community for many, many years. She's an artist, a writer, an educator and researcher, and many other things, an aunt and a wise woman, a stalwart to many issues and many people, that some of which are in the room, but many of those are outside in that Brisbane greater community, not just Indigenous people, but non-Indigenous people, and also further afield than Brisbane, okay? Not just here, but further afield across the state, nationally and even internationally, where her reach has been and is. Dr. Watson has a long association with UQ, starting as a student in 1973. She became, in 1979, became UQ's first Indigenous tutor, and she went on in 1984 to lecture in Aboriginal Studies. It wasn't called Aboriginal and Torres Strait Studies then, it was Aboriginal Studies. It was from these first formative moments that our own Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander Studies unit, now the Indigenous Engagement Division, was created, and we acknowledge her tremendous contribution to the university in being part of that original seed, that Indigenous seed in the university, to which we now see what we have now. Dr. Watson's achievements have been many across a long career, but I want to particularly make mention of her involvement as a co-founder of Link Up, and people that will know me know I also was on the board for many years, long after Auntie Lilla was involved in the foundation time, but it's dear to me as well. And it's an organisation that many of you will know is doing really important reconnecting work with families and communities very broadly, not just in Queensland but nationally. She is co-founder of Black Card, and wonderful that we've got Mandanara here this evening as well to celebrate this with you, Auntie Lilla. And Black Card provides cultural education via workshops, consultancy and other resources, and my own team continue to benefit from the wisdom from Black Card, but have also done some of the training that's been offered. The work that Black Card is doing in our communities is really important in terms of supporting reconciliation and promoting positive outcomes for Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people. Dr. Watson, we thank you for your outstanding contributions, and we are so glad that you will be honoured tonight. Dr. Watson will be honoured at the Courting the Greats event as this year's Indigenous Community Impact Award winner. Please give her another round of applause. We're just still waiting. We did get word that Dr. Jordan Corey was on her way, but we haven't seen her come yet, so she must have been delayed. She will also be receiving an award tonight. She is a medical doctor, so those med students who are in the audience, make sure you make a beeline for her at some point to talk to her. She's a leader in Indigenous health and gender equity, and whilst pretty early in her career, she's already making great strides. Dr. Corey is an early career surgical registrar at the Royal Melbourne Hospital, and she works with the World Medical Association and is currently completing the Global Surgery short course at the University of Oxford, and I understand she'll be leaving again soon to go back over to the UK. In 2018, she was the recipient of the converted Posh Centre Indigenous Health Fellowship at the University of Melbourne and also King's College in London. She is a current board member of the Australian Indigenous Doctors Association and a board member of Children's Ground, which works to empower Indigenous communities in the Northern Territory. Dr. Corey, in her absence, I do acknowledge her tremendous achievements to date, and I wish her, on behalf of all of us, the best for what no doubt will be an extraordinary career. Please give her a round of applause. Thank you. I commenced in the role of Pro Vice-Chancellor in 2018, in April, at UQ. And very early on, it was clear to me that UQ had an incredible, remarkable, amazing and ultra-deadly base of alumni, and in particular, Indigenous alumni. And it started my intention at that time that we needed to strengthen the alumni community and make it something than just a group of people that some people knew or didn't know or had some connections through, whether it was a school, and some people do. We know there's good, strong connections in social work and other areas, but other areas there's very little connection. But we wanted to grow that. We have found over 1,000 Aboriginal and Torres Strait alumni. It's not easy because the times before that data was collected under the electronic system is all written down manually. So there's been some work done about going back, trolling back through the archive material to find some of the early ones. We still haven't got everybody. So once we launch this, we want, if you know people or people come forward and say, I didn't know about that, then we need to connect with them too. We don't want them to feel left out. We want everybody to be included, and we want this to be an inclusive thing. There are too many to mention, but I will say there are doctors, lawyers, architects, educators, researchers, writers, advocates, artists, people in all professions doing all kinds of things. And even if people aren't currently working, they're still contributing their skills in whatever way they can, and in ways in community, which also strengthens community. And I can see Nolene's little face hiding there. I am going to mention Galang Place because something special happened not long ago, and I learnt that the whole first board of Galang Place was actually UQ alumni. So when we think about what alumni has given from UQ, they've been part of those original organisations, same as other universities like QUT and Griffith. But in this regard, when we talk about UQ, I'm really proud of the achievements of people that are in this room and that are out there in the alumni base. And I think, we need to acknowledge them, and we want to build that strength, as I said. I want to say to you here tonight that are alumni, there's still a lot that we have to do. This is just the start. And we are going to need some of your help to help grow that and strengthen it. It's one of UQ's goals and core goals is around Indigenous engagement. We don't just have the Reconciliation Action Plan, and that's kind of an empty document. It is a living document that we enact every single day and try to enact it across the footprint of UQ. Part of that document contains outcomes around alumni, but we can be broader than that. That's just got a time frame for now, and it'll be bigger going forward. We hope that the journey to success grows and inspires other young professionals coming up. And I know that the current students have said they want access to some of the graduates from UQ and other graduates. They want people who are role models, people who have been before them. Alumni assist in that process as well. And so, your roles can be many, depending on what you want to do. We hope to also provide opportunities for you to reconnect with UQ and the alumni community, and also have some fun. And I know there's some people here that came along to the Fire in the Sky, not long, ago down the other end of town at the Customs House, which was an alumni event. There's lots of alumni events that this university has. It's organised through Jen's office, that we don't see many Indigenous alumni coming because it's pretty hard to come sometimes when there's 300,000 people. But having our own Indigenous charter for you will mean that will increase greater accessibility. You'll be able to reminisce with your old classmates and friends, but we hope you make some new friends along the way too. We have a number of alumni engagement events over the coming months, and we hope that people will join in with those. We also have the annual NAIDOC Ball organised by the Student Association, graduation ceremonies, sashing ceremonies, and as I mentioned, the River Fire event. The network is an opportunity for you to connect with other Indigenous professionals and leaders. For example, UQ recently launched an alumni advisory committee that will work with a budget and support my office to develop an alumni engagement strategy. So, there's things that are going to happen with some budget. It's not about just having no money. I want to acknowledge those people in the room tonight who've already come along to that first meeting and have made a commitment to that group. If you want to be part of that, please talk to some of the staff tonight or this afternoon who are here from the Office of, my office, Office of the Pro-Vice Chancellor Indigenous Engagement, or the Aboriginal Torres Strait Islander Studies Unit. UQ has a range of programs to support your professional development, whether you want to pursue further postgrad studies or other things, other short courses, or just want to come along to other university events, you're always welcome. And please talk to staff if that's something that interests you. See up here on this web page screen, you'll see the artwork. That artwork has come from our Reconciliation Action Plan artwork. That has also been designed by the same artists that did the reconciliation artwork, which is Casey Coolwell and Kira Mankeltow. You may know them as Quanda Muka Woman. Okay, so we've utilised that work to pull out something that is specific for the alumni, the Aboriginal Torres Strait Islander UQ alumni. I'm going to ask you who've got phones close to look that alumni up now, and you're going to press like. Don't go like, unlike, like, or like, unlike. You're going to press like. We won't bombard you with everything, 10 things a day, but you will be able to receive some messages about future events. We want to get it up and running now. Join the group. And this will help you be connected with each other. Jason or Don, can someone just move that down so you can show people what that looks like? So we've got a few things up there already, and we will have more coming onto there in the future. Yeah, that's from tonight. That's Don. Don's put those up, haven't you, Don? Oh, there's Lorian and Renee. So I will say Lorian is graduating again from this university soon. Lorian, when will that happen? End of the year with her PhD. So we do have some people that are getting their second degrees or more from this university as well. So have a look, like it. There's Arnie. We'll be seeing Arnie Lilla's face a lot tonight. Okay, that's a broader one that's advertising as well. There's Jordan. So if you see her arrive late, you'll know what she looks like, okay? Don't embarrass her and go, you're late, but you'll know what she looks like, and please welcome her. She hasn't been back to a UQ thing for a little while because she's been busy doing her registrar training. Before I do finish up, I am going to call Annie Lilla up here because we do have a gift for you.
where can I start? It's always very difficult where to start. And firstly, I suppose I'd like to really express great thanks to Bronwyn and Jennifer and Peter for this alumni that's being launched for Aboriginal and older students and past students, and I think it's just wonderful that it's happened, and I really warmly congratulate you on that. For myself, I guess I'd like to just share a little of the past journey. When I joined the University of Queensland, went to work in the social work department. I was there first as a research assistant, tutor, and then eventually lecturer. And it came to me very strongly from my own student days, which Peter, I think we were both students at the same time in that at that time. But it came to me from those days that a very real need for Aboriginal and Islander students to really consolidate their cultural beginning and developed Aboriginal terms of reference so they could participate in this university on their terms, coming from a strong culture and participating in this place in the university can be very intimidating and could undermine quite often the confidence of Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander students. But I knew if we could consolidate Aboriginal terms of reference for our students, it would strengthen them so much more to be able to participate in the university. And that was the aim of the courses I was able to develop through the university, through the social work department. But not only that, the social work department was very supportive in terms of employing me. I didn't have a degree. They employed me as a lecturer without a degree, and to do that, it created a great debate within the University of Queensland. Went right throughout the university. And I must say that the head of the department, the late Dr. Alan Halliday, was a wonderful man. He took hold, I always say, took hold of the spear and carried it right through to the end until it went to the academic board and finally to the Senate, where Aboriginal terms of reference in intellectual life at the University of Queensland was recognised. Now, that wasn't an easy thing for it to happen. It was such a great debate, and especially the university students and their association created a great, I'm not sure what to call it, but they set up tables in front of the administration building and behind it with all the information about the debate of why Aboriginal terms of reference need to be recognised. And they did a wonderful job, as did the people in the social work department. And once it was recognised, of course, then there were courses introduced by myself and Mary Graham, Aboriginal Perspectives and Aboriginal Approaches to Knowledge, and the establishment of the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander Union. That was a very important feature of what happened, because of course it's still going great and strong today, and that's wonderful to see and to know so many wonderful things are happening that bringing our students through. And I guess it's, to me, that was the important thing, to consolidate our cultural beginnings based on our terms of reference that would give our students the confidence and knowledge of who they were so they could participate in the university and keep their confidence, because it's very easy to get drawn over the line into white terms of reference, and once that happens, the ground beneath your feet can turn to sand and you start to lose confidence. And that's when you need to say, no, I'm a cultured person. I know who I am and where I belong. And that gives you strength. And we all need that belief in who we are. And I probably spoke long enough. Thank you very much.